Those who are just joining us, my name is Kyle B. Thompson. I am the programming director of the Fort Myers Beach International Film Festival. And we are just 2 weeks away from our festival on Fort Myers Beach at the Beach Theater, starting April 26th all the way till May 1st. It's going to be a great week. We are back finally in April. We've been doing this festival in September for the past 2 years because of COVID, but now we are officially back doing it in April. And I have some awesome filmmakers on here. I have Mike Houlihan and Dennis Kearns, who have an awesome, fantastic documentary called In Search of Weeping Jim. It is a beautiful story, shot in Ireland. Has a really great story. I'm going to bring these guys on now. Let's take a look. Dennis, hello. Mike, howdy. First of all, thank you both for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure. We absolutely loved your documentary. And it plays Sunday, May 1st at 5:15 p.m. So my first question, and I'll let you decide who wants to answer this, is, what inspired, or what made you want to tell this story? I know you guys mentioned you were traveling to Ireland a little bit and sort of uncovered the story, but, what inspired you to tell it and make a documentary of it?
Danny?
Well, it all started with our trips to Ireland. Mike has been the forerunner in all of this. He got his Irish passport through his maternal grandparents, and when he got his passport, I started looking into my ancestry in Ireland, and after that, as we made successive trips to Ireland, we kind of peeled back the onion and discovered more and more, and at that point, Mike, who's a great raconteur and filmmaker, said, hey, this has the makings of a great story. Let's start documenting it. And so it began, and it has taken place over many years, and the story doesn't end. We're continuing. We're going back this October, and it's really a love of Ireland, a love of ancestry, and the people in County Galway have been very, very receptive. We've shown the film in Westport, and they loved it.
That's incredible. I was just telling you, gentlemen, I'm a big fan of Ireland. I haven't been there as many times as you have been, but my wife and I are dying to get back at some point. So for those who are watching, tell us a little bit, for those who don't know, what's your documentary about? Tell us a little bit about the story.
Kyle, Denny and I have known each other since first grade, back on the south side of Chicago.
Wow.
Grew up together. Some years ago, Dennis moved to Austin, Texas, and I started these trips in 2013. We went 2013, 2014, 2015. We usually have a big group.
Okay.
And the group didn't come. And I said, why don't you and I just go? And we did. And we got out there and we hired a driver. And all we knew was that his grandfather was from a place called Kilmena. And it was on his birth certificate. And we went and found the church in Kilmena, and we went, and Denny went in there, and these two ladies pulled up and said, what are you, and just the way Irish women would, what are you up to? So we're looking for his grandfather, and they said, well, what was his name? His name was Quinn, Willie Quinn. She goes, well, Willie Quinn just pulled up there in his car. He's picking up his granddaughter. We went, what? So we walked over. Dennis introduced himself. Turns out they were long-lost cousins. He said, follow me. We followed him on this long, circuitous route over a causeway onto a little island called Inishcuttle. There's only like 4 or 5 houses on it. Just gorgeous. And the guy takes us back to his home, breaks out the whiskey. We toasted. And that was the beginning of the story. It was just terrific.
Yeah. That's an incredible... First of all, what are the odds of that sort of?
Yeah, it's the hand of God. Providence has played a big part of this whole story.
Oh, I can imagine. Was it the typical Jameson, or was it the Tully, or was it?
He had a couple of different. I can't remember. He had a couple of different, and he had his granddaughter there. She, Abigail, she was like 14. We had our driver, the late Michael Quinlan, and then Willie's wife, Mary, was there. That was just us in his living room, toasting and laughing and telling stories, and we bonded. There's no question. So we went back to see him several times. Yeah.
Dennis, what was that moment like for you? Just sort of coming together that quickly. For you, I mean, there's a lot of emotions going on in that moment. But tell us a little more.
Yeah, well, my paternal grandfather, actually my great grandfather, married into the Quinn family. The Quinn owned the real estate in Inishcuttle, so I was kind of a bastard cousin, if you will. And when we first met Willie, he was kind of, what are the Yanks doing over here? They think they're
Yeah.
playing the old homestead. So
You know
of
what?
course,
Here's a funny story. Willie, when we first met him, we couldn't understand a word he was saying.
Oh, really?
But God, he's got the thickest brogue I've ever heard. Finally, he said, "I just had tongue surgery," and I was like, "Oh, now I
Oh,
get
that
it."
explains it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we began to figure out what he was saying, and anyway, Denny, pick it up from there.
Yeah.
it was a very emotional experience because
Yes.
in my wildest dreams, I never thought that we would make that kind of a contact with an actual blood relative. And Willie and his wife, Mary, were very gracious, accepting us into their home. And then a couple of years later, accepting us back into their home for a reunion. Unfortunately, they were in ill health and couldn't make the premiere in Westport last year. But
all their friends were there.
All their friends were there, and as you know, as the film progresses and there's background music, the drone flight over Inishcuttle, to the Saw Doctor's tune, the Green and Red of Mayo, the Irish audience in Westport was singing along to the song. It was just heartwarming. Heartwarming.
That must have been for you as the filmmakers, in the craze of this. That must have been like on a whole other level of emotion to be able to see that and realize that, all right, this choice of music is totally hit home if they're like singing along to it. That is
with aerial shots from a drone of the island. It just fit together beautifully.
Yeah, which actually that was my question for you guys. Right, I loved the drone footage you guys have, of the islands. I mean, again, I love Ireland so much to be able to see that from that. Did you guys like have to hire a drone operator over there? Did you guys bring your own drone? Or
we had a guy over there. He's a wedding photographer. His name is Jason Nolan. He was terrific. He also shot the press conference in Westport. And I said, "Can you go back and get drone footage?" And he has a drone, and he did it. He did a terrific job.
Wow.
He was.
And
great.
The other question I had, there's no restrictions for. I mean, I feel like on the cliffs of Moyer, if I remember correctly, there was signs that you can't fly a drone anywhere out here. But maybe I'm mistaken. But I guess there was no restriction. They just let you.
Some of the footage we were given by Tourism Ireland.
Gotcha.
So we didn't
Okay.
have to worry about that. It was just a gift. God bless him.
That's awesome.
Nolan's footage was on his own. He lived near there and he went and shot it. It was terrific.
Oh, okay. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really well done.
It's a quilt. The whole thing is a quilt, a patchwork of stuff from other people, and
awesome stuff. So tell me, is this what's the? I guess you're at the beginning of your festival run and the ending. I know it's had a few screenings. I know it played in Chicago recently. Or back in September. You guys at the beginning of your festival run or the end of it? Or also, what's your goal to getting the story out?
Depends on how many more we get into.
That's fair too. That's fair too.
But I'd love to see it go a long way in festivals. It's also available at Vimeo on demand. If anybody wants to see it, just go to Vimeo on demand, search of Weeping Jim. It's available there.
Awesome.
And it's a unique film because it's very Chicago in terms of the history of it in Chicago and everything. But it's also, that's why we have the Saw Doctors and Emer Arkin and Liam Durkin. The music helped brings that whole story across, I think. We're very proud of it. Yeah.
It kind of completes the link between the new country and the old country. We were very cognizant of that. We were coming back to Ireland, and we wanted to give a gift of what Ireland did for Chicago, and the fact that my grandfather, a 12-year-old, emigrating to Chicago through Boston, rose by his bootstraps to become an attorney, to
1884.
become an alderman, to become the alderman that passed the ordinance that established the Chicago flag. I mean, there's a great legacy there. Chicago's a very proud city, and there are a lot of Irish in Chicago, and there are a lot of Irish in the Fort Myers, Naples area as well.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's the quintessential story of the Irish immigrant in America. They came,
Okay.
they saw, they conquered, they took over. That's the beauty.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Janine actually is currently watching this, and she's looking forward to seeing you guys at the festival. I don't know if you can see that comment. She just commented on it. But hello, Janine, our executive director, jumping in on us. So, are you guys both from Chicago?
Originally,
I'm from Chicago. I'm still in Chicago. Denny's in Austin, Texas now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I actually just had another filmmaker earlier who's from Austin, Texas. A lot of filmmakers popping up there. So how often? So you guys, first off, I think it's incredible. I didn't know this until right now. You guys have known each other since the first grade. And I mean, how many times have you guys gone to Ireland at this point? I mean, I feel like it's probably
next year in October will be my 11th trip. I think Denny maybe even more trips. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I went back and I went in 1972, took a ferry across the Irish Sea. It was during the Troubles in Northern Ireland. And I knew there was troubles because the whole train from London to the ferry landing was filled with young British troops that were going up to, because England had suspended the government in Belfast in Northern Ireland and was sending their troops over. So I have had a long passion for Irish history and Irish politics, and little did I know the genesis of all that was the passion of my grandfather when he got involved in Chicago politics, which is probably the toughest politics in the world.
Yeah. That's it. Wow. So, Mike, you mentioned this a little bit earlier. You know, you're really proud of it. But I want to hear from both of you on this one, right? Because it's a beautiful documentary. It tells a really unique story. I think it's an hour and 25 minutes. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, it's 85 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are you both most proud of this film? Like, what's if there's one thing I'm most proud of, like how I executed the story, or just what are you most proud of? And we'll start with Dennis. I want to hear from you first, since this story is so close to home.
Yeah, to carry on the legacy of my great grandparents and my grandfather to the current family members who primarily reside in the city of Chicago, that they need to embrace with pride this legacy, and as it is symbolized by the Chicago flag. Mike and I have been talking about forming the Weeping Jim Society, which would be a group of Chicago patriots that love the Chicago flag and honor its inception from an Irish immigrant. The government of Ireland has supported this film. Mike secured funding from the Irish government to bankroll part of this process. So on both sides of the Atlantic, there is pride in it. And I take pride in that, the fact both that the Irish government, the people of Chicago, and my family have taken a great interest in this story.
That's incredible. Mike, what are you most proud of this
Kyle,
film?
one of the things that you will learn about us on the weekend we're there is that we like to party. Okay.
That's okay. That was my last question. Are you guys a Guinness?
And in years past, we'd go to Ireland and just enjoy the crack and do a lot of drinking and crazy stuff. Now we're getting older. We got to slow it down. But this film has given us an opportunity to indulge all our enjoyment of the crack and drinking and the Irish music and enjoying Ireland into one great noble venture, this film. And so the Weeping Jim Society, yes, we're going to keep that going. We're going to continue to go to Ireland every year until we croak. We rented a house in Fort Myers for the weekend. My sons are coming, my twin sons, they're both 40. We're going to have a lot of love. We have some old friends that are living out there. We're going to look up with them. It's going to be a great weekend. And we're so thankful that you gave us Sunday, because we can build up to that. That's like the last night of the festival.
Of course, yeah. It's right before the awards. And it's a good time. And we're real excited to have Dennis, are you attending? I don't know if I...
Yes,
yeah.
I am.
Great, perfect, awesome, cool. Well, we'll have to open up some Guinnesses while you guys are
Oh,
in
yeah.
town. Although the one thing I've learned about going to Ireland is you have a Guinness over there, and then you come here, and then you start judging how every person pours a Guinness everywhere. Like this is not how you pour a Guinness. But it's so great that you guys will both be there. And I actually had a really funny story. You mentioned Mike. You say, "Oh, you enjoy the crack over there." I had never heard that term before until I was in Ireland. I'm at a bar. My wife and I are, my wife and I are big beer and Irish. I'm actually 100% Irish. I've only been to Ireland once though, and I was over there, and I'm there's a gentleman next to me. He's from Ireland. We're in a little bar in Dublin called Lord Edwards, and we're sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" I hear an American accent. I go, "We're from, I'm from Philadelphia. I'm not even from Fort Myers." A little bumped.
Big Irish community there in Philly.
Oh yeah, we have a lot. We have a lot of Irish here, and we have some pretty awesome Irish bars. I must say so myself. And we're sitting there, and he goes, "Oh, Philadelphia. I heard there's good crack in Philadelphia," and I'm like, "I don't know. That's not my. I don't know. That's not me." And he goes, "You never had like good crack in Philadelphia?" I'm like, "No." I turned to my wife. We got to get the hell out of here. This is like, the bartender was like, "No, you don't get it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, now I get it." So that's always a funny little Ireland.
Oh yeah, story. Crack is the fun.
Yeah. Well, we're super excited to have both of you there. I hope you guys can come out at some of the parties that we have hosting down there. And
we'll be there.
Janine's really excited to have you guys, and obviously a Chicago native herself, and I know she's really excited to hang with you guys as well. So it should be a lot of fun. But guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kyle. We're looking forward to having the crack.
Yeah, totally. I will pour some Guinnesses in the name of the Irish, and we'll have a lot of fun. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, again, for those who are watching, In Search of Weeping Jim, great documentary, plays Sunday, May 1st at 5:15. And you'll get the chance to meet these guys, and we'll do a Q&A afterwards after seeing the film, and you guys will be there to answer a bunch of our audience's questions. So until then, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Thanks, pal. God bless.
No worries. Take care. Bye. All right. What a fantastic film, guys. I love this documentary. It's awesome being, a big fan of Ireland. That sort of drove home for me. But guys, please come out Sunday, May 1st at 5:15 p.m. It's a great film playing. But guys, for now, my name is Kyle B. Thompson. Again, I'm the programming director of the Fort Myers Beach International Film Festival. We're just 2 weeks away from another great year down in Fort Myers Beach. Being from Philadelphia, it's been a little cold up here. I'm excited to get down there because I can use some of the weather and some Guinnesses now that I have some people that I know I can drink some Guinnesses with. So, guys, for now, all week long, we're doing filmmaker interviews. We got a couple more coming up this week. We'll be announcing soon. But in the meantime,